What drives a mother to commit unspeakable acts? How could a seemingly normal woman transform into a central figure in one of the most chilling cases in recent history? This is the story of Lori Vallow, a woman whose beliefs in a doomsday prophecy led to a horrific trail of death, deception, and shattered lives. Lori Vallow seemed to have it all. A mother of 3, she was a devoted wife, a beauty pageant contestant, and active in her community. But behind the facade of a perfect life, there were dark secrets brewing. Secrets that would ultimately cost the lives of her children. It all started when Lori crossed paths with Chad Daybell, a man who called himself a religious leader, claiming he could communicate with angels and predict the end of the world. Together, they would create a web of destruction so twisted it left everyone around them wondering, how did it come to this? In 2018, Lori met Chad Daybell at a religious conference in Utah. Chad, an author of several doomsday-themed books, preached about a world on the brink of the apocalypse. Lori, already interested in the afterlife and deeply religious, was immediately drawn to his beliefs. The two shared an intense connection, quickly bonding over their extremist views, but it didn't stop there. Lori became obsessed with Chad's teachings. He convinced her that they were part of a chosen group, divine beings who would lead the survivors of the looming doomsday. But that wasn't the most disturbing part. Chad had also categorized people into 2 groups, the light and the dark, claiming those marked as dark were possessed by evil spirits, and according to Chad, Lori's husband, Charles Vallow, and her 2 children, Tylee and JJ Vallow, were part of this dark group. As Lori's beliefs deepened, her relationship with Charles Vallow began to unravel. In early 2019, Charles made several desperate 911 calls, fearing for his life. He told authorities that Lori had threatened to kill him, claiming she believed he was possessed by an evil spirit.
So what's going on tonight?
Can't get in touch with my kids.
How old are your kids?
6.5 and 16. Okay.
How long have you been trying?
2 days.
So what makes her a danger to herself and to others?
She threatened me, murder me, kill me. Yes. And she said,
How did she do that?
My bishop right there is in the car. He was on the phone with me today when she said, "I will have you destroyed." That's what she said there.
Okay, that's not a threat to kill you.
Yesterday was a threat to kill me.
Okay. What did she say yesterday?
She said, "You're not Charles. I know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now."
In one haunting call, Charles pleaded with the dispatcher saying, "She said she was going to kill me. I don't know what to do." Despite his efforts, the authorities were unable to intervene, and just days later, Charles Vallow was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox. Alex claimed self-defense, telling 911 operators that Charles had attacked him. In a chilling 911 call made moments after the shooting, Alex's voice was eerily calm as he explained, "I just shot my brother-in-law in self-defense." But was it really self-defense? Or was it all part of Lori and Chad's twisted plan?
Fire department, what is the address of the emergency?
5531 South Four Peaks.
And is that a house in Chandler?
Yes.
And what is the emergency?
I shot my brother-in-law
Okay, what part of his body is injured?
in the chest,
Okay, is he awake and responsive or unconscious?
unconscious.
Okay, is he breathing?
I can't tell.
Okay, are you willing to go over to him and check?
Sure.
Okay, do you just let me know if you see his chest going up and down? How old is he?
It's not moving. He's 60.
Okay, and are you wanting to start CPR?
No, I don't know how to do that.
I can walk you through it.
Okay.
Where's the
Okay.
gun now?
It's in the other room.
Okay, just keep going with those compressions. Petey, did you have any other questions?
Yes. What's your name, sir?
My name is Alex. Last name is Cox, C-O-X.
Who else is there in the house with you?
Just me.
What's his name, your brother-in-law?
Charles Vallow.
His last name, I'm sorry.
V-A-L-L-O. Vallow.
Police and medics are on the way to help you.
Thank you.
How long ago did this occur? Did it just happen?
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes before I called.
Okay.
On September 23, 2019, 7-year-old JJ Vallow was seen alive for the last time. Weeks earlier, 16-year-old Tylee Ryan also disappeared. Lori's explanation? The children were safe, she said, staying with friends. But when family members started asking questions and welfare checks were made, it became clear something was horribly wrong. Lori refused to cooperate with authorities, telling them conflicting stories about where her children were. She even moved to Rexburg, Idaho with Chad, in an attempt to distance herself from growing suspicions. As the investigation into the disappearance of Tylee and JJ ramped up, the media took notice. Journalists and reporters began swarming Lori and Chad, demanding answers. "Where are your children?" became the question that echoed from every news outlet.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? What happened to Tammy, Chad? Can you tell us what happened to Tammy? Why have you guys been in Hawaii for so long? Listen, just tell people what's happening. There's people around the country praying for your children, praying for you guys. Why don't you give us answers?
That's great.
That's great. That's great that they're praying for you, praying for your kids. What? You have nothing to say? Did you do something to your children? Are your children still alive? That's a simple question. I've got 3 kids of my own. I can tell you every minute where my kids are at. Where are your children? What do you guys plan to do now? You have 5 days to get your children in front of a judge in Rexburg, then what? Are you guys innocent of any crimes? Have you committed any crimes? Chad, you guys have a lot to say on your podcast. You don't have anything to say now? Lori?
And how did Lori and Chad respond? They stayed silent. As the cameras rolled and microphones were thrust in front of them, Lori and Chad walked away, refusing to speak a word. Their silence in front of the media only added to the growing mystery, further fueling the public's fear for the children. As the search for Tylee and JJ continued, an eerie pattern of death began to emerge around Lori and Chad. First, there was Lori's brother, Alex Cox, who had shot and killed her estranged husband, Charles Vallow, in July 2019, claiming it was self-defense. Charles had filed for divorce months before, accusing Lori of becoming unhinged by her religious beliefs. Then, in October 2019, Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife, died under mysterious circumstances. Initially ruled as natural causes, her body was later exhumed, revealing signs of asphyxiation. With both their spouses out of the picture, Lori and Chad wasted no time. They were married just 2 weeks after Tammy's death. But the horror didn't end there. As authorities investigated Lori and Chad further, the search for Tylee and JJ intensified. Months of searching, and still no sign of the children until June 2020. Investigators, acting on a search warrant, uncovered a gruesome discovery at Chad Daybell's property in Rexburg, Idaho. They found the remains of JJ and Tylee buried in the backyard. JJ's body was wrapped in plastic and duct tape, while Tylee's remains were found burned and dismembered.
And underneath the white rocks was some thin wood paneling.
Okay. And what did you observe them do with that paneling?
They removed the paneling.
Okay. And then what did you observe?
Initially, as soon as they removed the paneling, I could smell the odor of a decomposing body. Once they removed some soil, there was a black, what I can best describe as a black plastic bag with a round object protruding through the dirt.
Okay. What did you observe the ER team do after you saw that?
They dug a little bit more around the round object, which appeared to me to be the crown of a head. Protruding through the dirt, they used a small, sharp instrument to cut through the black plastic.
Okay. And what did you observe when they did that?
There was a white plastic underneath the black plastic, and they also used the white instrument to cut through the white plastic.
Okay, and what did you observe when they did that?
I observed what looked to be brown human hair.
Okay.
It was what appeared to be a small body tightly wrapped in black plastic, covered in duct tape.
It was a nightmare beyond belief. A mother, who was supposed to protect her children, instead stood accused of participating in their brutal deaths. As Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell awaited trial, the courtroom became a battleground for justice. Prosecutors laid out the chilling details of the couple's doomsday obsession, painting a picture of two people who believed they were on a divine mission. Lori, throughout the investigation and trial, showed little to no remorse. In court, she often appeared smiling, almost indifferent to the gravity of the charges against her. She claimed her actions were justified by her religious beliefs, that the children were zombies who needed to be taken care of for the greater good. In May 2023, the jury delivered its verdict. Lori Vallow was found guilty of the murders of Tylee and JJ, as well as conspiring to kill Chad's former wife, Tammy Daybell. Lori was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She is currently awaiting trial in Arizona for the role she played in the death of her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. And in May 2024, Chad Daybell's trial concluded. The evidence was overwhelming, and just like Lori, Chad was found guilty of murder. Chad showed little reaction as the jury handed down his sentence: the death penalty.
The layman's explanation of this verdict is that the jury has made a finding that it would be appropriate to impose the death penalty as it relates to counts 1 through 6 in the amended indictment. And so pursuant to Idaho Code 192515, the court is directed that the defendant would be sentenced to death on those counts.
The case of Lori Vallow shocked the nation. It wasn't just the tragic loss of innocent lives that gripped people's hearts, but the idea that a mother, influenced by twisted religious beliefs, could orchestrate something so heinous. This is not just a story about one woman. It's about the people left behind, the families shattered, and the children whose lives were stolen too soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another chilling story like this. Until next time, stay safe. And remember, sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we trust the most.